And finally tonight, April 20th will mark the one-year anniversary of the oil spill that devastated the Gulf of Mexico. In the end, more than 170 million gallons of crude gushed into the Gulf, making it the worst spill in U.S. history. A year later, the long-term impact to the environment remains unclear. But the economy, according to residents from Florida to Louisiana, took a wallop. And people affected want compensation, and they want it now. The owner of the well, BP, admitted responsibility and agreed to set up a $20 billion fund to compensate the victims. The man you're about to meet is in charge of handing out all that money. His name is Kenneth Feinberg, and he was asked to do the job by President Obama and BP officials. If he looks familiar, it's because he's done this line of work before. It was Feinberg who was in charge of funds for victims of Agent Orange, the Virginia Tech shooting, and most famously, 9/11. Feinberg goes back and forth between the Gulf and his Washington office. You may think that a man with $20 billion at his disposal would be very popular. But lately, Feinberg seems to be hearing a lot more complaints than kudos. Well, Counselor, first of all, thank you very much for doing this.
Glad to be here.
We're almost a year since the great Gulf oil gusher. How's the recovery going?
By all accounts, the recovery is moving forward rapidly. No one knows for sure how long it will take for the Gulf to be restored to the way it was before the explosion. But by all independent accounts, real progress, momentum, and a gradual return to the normal.
Well, up to now, how many claims have been paid?
We have paid about 300,000 claims in 9 months. 300,000 claims, we've paid out about $3.8 billion.
Now, does all that money come from the BP money?
All of it. 100% of the money that I am authorizing from the Gulf Coast Claims Facility comes out of that $20 billion that BP set aside for this purpose.
Now, how many claims have been denied?
Oh, we've denied over half the claims. We've paid 300,000. We've probably got another 150,000 we're looking at. So we've probably paid or processing 450,000 claims and denied about 300,000 claims.
Well, what about fraud? We have this much money on the table, that many claims. Got to be some people engaging or trying to engage in fraud. Has that been a problem?
Some people, there's been 8,000 claims that we deem to be sufficiently skeptical or suspicious looking that we've sent them to the Department of Justice Criminal Fraud Division. The Justice Department's reviewing those. They've indicted some people, 25 people so
they
far.
Can be prosecuted.
The Justice Department has been vigilant in making it clear that fraudulent claims involving this program will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Well, what am I to make of these people who complain both to myself, to our reporters, and to others? Listen, I filed a claim and I never heard anything back, or I made a telephone call to follow up and I never heard anything back. That doesn't come as bulletin material to you.
No, it doesn't. And there may be some truth to that. I must say, 750,000 claims, it's entirely possible that it took a while, not never, but it took a while to respond to the inquiries of that claimant. I think we've improved this process dramatically over the last 30, 60, 90 days to add people, more resources to deal with that complaint that we're not responding in an expeditious way.
Were you surprised by how many claims were filed?
I was shocked. The 9/11 fund, you'll recall, in 33 months, I received a total of 7,300 claims. I get 7,300 claims in a week a few months ago, and in a couple of days. And I think the single biggest criticism, constructive criticism, leveled at the facility, Mr. Feinberg, please hurry up. Hurry up. We can't wait.
There are many people in this room who haven't gotten it done.
Feinberg administers the billions of dollars through what is known as the Gulf Coast Claims Facility. And since his appointment last June, he has traveled across the region to talk with local residents and business owners.
I have had my home foreclosed on.
To date, he's held roughly 24 town hall meetings in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida.
What you want me to do, get on my knees and beg you for it?
The mood can often get testy. Many residents tell him they're frustrated by a system they believe just doesn't work, where cases are mishandled or even ignored.
I'm not asking for the world. I'm just asking for something to live on, man.
True or untrue that this anger, in many cases, justifiable anger, what happened and how they haven't been made whole again, has been directed at you rather than BP.
I think that's probably right, although I must say that my appointment hasn't in any way, I think, deflected the anger directed at BP. But I do think that I'm viewed by many people as sort of an agent of BP.
Are you?
No, I am not an agent of BP.
You're paid by them.
Who else is going to pay for the entire cost of this program? I'm paid by them. The entire Gulf Coast Claims Facility is paid by them. All of the claimants are paid by them because it is BP with the wallet and the deep pocket that has put up the funds for this entire rather unique, unprecedented program.
I'm going down the list of things that people have told us. Some say they've only received a small fraction of what they are owed without any explanation. Does that happen?
I don't think that that's happened very often. I think it's very common that people receive a fraction of what they ask for, but you've got to understand that one claimant filed a claim and asked for all $20 billion. Another claimant filed a claim and asked for $10 billion. So I mean, the gap between what is requested as wishful thinking and what can be proven as damage attributable to the oil spill is often very, very wide indeed.
But now you go to people and there's a way for them to settle, to get a settlement, but they have to sign a piece of paper or agree, then they won't sue the company.
Not quite. There's three options right now, and each claimant can choose voluntarily which option. Option one, Mr. Feinberg, I would like a lump sum settlement for past, present, future damage, now and forevermore. I won't be back. I can't sue. Here's my documentation to prove my claim. Thank you.
That's option one.
Option one. Option two, I don't want to give up my right to sue. I will provide you documentation proving my damage for the last quarter of the year, 3 months. Here it is. I will take an interim payment. I sign nothing. I can come back again. I can litigate. I have all of my options open.
And option three?
Option three. I'll check off this box. If I'm an individual, you'll send me within 2 weeks $5,000. If I'm a business, you'll send me within 2 weeks $25,000. Now, I have to sign, I won't be back, and I won't sue, but I have no need to submit any further proof. Just send me my check.
It's their choice of which option they take.
I don't care which choice you make. If you feel that you want to preserve the option of litigating, paying your lawyer, winning a home run in court, take the interim payment, document your damage, continue to keep those options open.
$5,000? Do not insult me. But what do you think all these people are?
You say that the quick pay offer of $5,000 or $25,000 is don't insult me. Now, I want you to know, I just want you to know, I don't think people in Louisiana are foolish. 61,000 people in the Gulf have taken that final payment. No.
When calculating future losses, you had to determine some point that it's reasonable to expect full recovery by 2012.
Yes. I went out and over a 4-month period canvassed the experts, biologists, marine experts, environmentalists, academics, the shrimpers, the fishermen, the oystermen themselves. What do you guys think? Well, no one knows for sure, Mr. Feinberg. No one can say for sure. But we think it's, as you said, reasonable that by the end of 2012, the Gulf will return to normal. Then I posted that view and invited comment publicly, transparency. Anybody, what do you think? Well, about 99% of the people who wrote me said it ought to be longer. BP submitted a brief. We think by the end of 2012, that's way too long. I must be doing something right if the claimants are unhappy and BP is unhappy. I'd like to think that what I'm doing probably walks down that line pretty well.
Well, what's BP's beef?
They think I've been, on some claims, too generous. I've paid claimants $45 million, $28 million, $11 million, $9 million.
Well, speaking of finances, it's always difficult to talk about one's personal money. But your firm is now being paid $1.25 million a month, is that?
That's correct.
And you recently got a raise.
To $1.250 a month.
Up to that figure.
Right.
Now, this woman from Alabama says it's a joke. What do you say to her?
I say a couple of things. This is not my salary. This is what the law firm is receiving. That it is there's tremendous overhead here. There are a huge number of people working here that have to be covered not by BP, but by Feinberg, Rosen, the law firm. It is not as if we are pocketing the money or benefiting at the risk, at the price of claimants. Nothing like that is happening. I would also say to that woman, I worked pro bono in 9/11. I thought that was the patriotic right thing to do. In Virginia Tech, I worked pro bono. Here we have an admitted wrongdoer who has agreed to fund the program. There is no reason for me to work pro bono on this project.
At night before you go to bed, do you sometimes think to yourself, easy target? That's what I am, I'm an easy target?
I don't really think about it when I go to bed. I think at 3 a.m. when I wake up sometimes I think about being an easy target. But I must say that it's understandable. They feel, in most cases, I understand, they feel wronged. Human nature being what it is, Dan, they think that whatever financial ill they suffer, it's due to the spill. Never mind that your boat couldn't even fish if the Gulf was open. Let's say it was in dry dock, it had a hole in its hull. Nevertheless, the hole would have been repaired. I would have pushed that boat into the water. I would have made $100,000. Pay me, pay me, pay me. Bad things happen to good people in this country every day. Tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, Katrina. There's no $20 billion fund for those people. There's no money set aside for that segment of the victims of life's misfortune.
You've said several times in the interview that you hear the anger. What can you say to these people, the ones who have a legitimate claim to have lost nearly everything? How can we deal with that anger?
First of all, I think people who have lost everything legitimately have largely been treated fairly by the Gulf Coast Claims Facility. I could show you scores of letters that I've received and emails. Thank you. Don't listen to the critics. I appreciate it. You help me avoid foreclosure. I mean, I find, as a general principle in all of these programs, not just BP, that those who shout the loudest and are the angriest tend to have the most dubious claims. You better have one stiff backbone if you're going to take on these assignments, because this goes with the territory.
Counselor, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Kenneth Feinberg and the Great Gulf Underwater Oil Gusher. 1 year on.